G'day, Steve Morgan. Australian Bass Tournament's just finished the first round of the Zerek BARRA series, the Atomic Teemburra round, and well, we've got some first-time winners here. They weren't winners, they were annihilated. It was a nearly 20-kilo bag team, Compleat Angler in Cairns. Ron, far out. That was an annihilation.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We didn't think we were going to do that well there, but we did a bit of topwater in the afternoon. We lost a lot of fish. We changed over jerkbaits, lost a lot of fish. And then we were just like, we'll just go back to doing what we normally do. And looked at some of the deep creek channels and that through the lake, and just scoped around and found fish. And yeah, we just chucked lures at them and they ate eventually, and we made it come together.
Go a little bit more detail of what you do. You know, you guys love using that forward face of sonar in the horizontal. I think at Garmin it's called perspective mode, called scout mode on the Simrad stuff. Is there any? Are you just randomly going around the open water, or are you looking for anything particular when you take a drive?
No, yes and no. I guess when you start it and you're trying to learn what you're looking for, you sort of are just driving around. After a bit of practice and sort of taking note of where your bites come from, you will notice that they do stack up on stuff on the bottom. It doesn't really matter how deep it is.
Yeah.
Like, some of the spots where we were catching them in, it was 40 metres of water and they were stacking up on a creek edge.
Yeah.
So
crazy,
there's no other structure there that they're particularly stacked on. But yeah, they know where it is. So yeah, every dam's different as well, so they're not always on the same things, but yeah, once you learn, generally it works. So.
Tell us about how your boat's set up. You got one of the smaller boats in the field, a little 4-point-something metre Quinny, and it's not a 4.9. What is it?
4.2 Explorer Trophy.
Yep. You've got it set up with you both fish off the front deck. You've got the big Simrad sounder up the front and a pole sitting out. How do you both work? Do you both work off the one transducer?
Yeah, so we both work off one's transducer, and generally we just try and go around with it pointing straight, and then we just work the angles off that.
Is it if it comes through your side it's your fish and your side it's your fish, or is it every man for himself?
Not. It kind of works. Like I generally, the way we work it is I'll generally throw the baits, the 2 or 3 baits that I throw all the time, and I don't throw anything else, and they're generally long cast baits, so I can cast past the beam and wind it through.
Yep.
Harry be throwing stuff like his jerk baits and maybe like big swim baits or glide baits or something like that, which work in a lot closer. So like I'll have a cast at a fish. If I stuff it up and miss it or go past it or something like that, or it ignores it.
H cleans it up.
Haz will cast in short and try and get it on what he's using. That's generally how it works, but otherwise it's just whoever sees it first and whoever gets the best cast in wins.
That's it. Always a competition within a competition, and we know you guys are hooked up because you've got those really cool strips of white LED lights around the edge, which are pretty cool for seeing what side, when the barra's fighting in close, you can sort of, take some preventative action to stop it rubbing you off on the boat.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't know, I go pretty hard, Ron goes pretty hard on fish. It's mentality is that the quicker it's in the net, the less chance you have of losing it, right? So we try to get it in there, so it is kind of really important to be able to see what the fish is doing when he's coming up, because, you heard it a couple of times throughout the night. The other night,
hook up.
They come in quick, and they're pretty angry when they come in quick. So getting it in there quickly is essential, and being able to see them really, really, really helps.
Yeah. Take us through what's the baits, the couple of baits that you throw, and let's talk about that Teemburra event. What was the bait that did the damage for you?
So we've got here was just the Molex 140 in the red claw colour. I don't know if the colour and shit made any difference, but it did, because they were hanging down a little bit deeper. Normally I'll throw like your Zerek mullet or something like that at your fish on the surface, because you can roll it really nice and slow. It's super, super subtle. But these fish, they were hanging down a bit deeper, so I just needed something to sink down fast enough so that I wasn't missing them as they were swimming past.
And when you say deep, you might be in 100 feet of water. How deep are they? They're not like 30 feet deep, are they? They're like 5 feet deep.
Normally they were hanging around 5, but in Teemburra we found they were probably hanging maybe 4 or 5 metres down.
Okay,
and they're the fish we were getting to bite. There were ones on the surface, but they weren't really interested in much, and they were a bit smaller, so we just kind of focused on the deeper fish, and they were the ones that generally chewed as well. So And most of them, I think both of the meteries that I got ate right at the boat.
So they come and follow
I'm pretty
up.
sure they were following it all the way to the boat. And yeah, they were pretty crazy once they got to the boat. And I think the metre 20 that I hooked there and lost at the back of the boat was a psycho.
Yeah.
So
They are mean, the fish in there, aren't they?
yeah. No, it was pretty awesome. It was awesome to see. It got like head height out of the water right at the back of the boat, and then the lure came flying across the deck. So
Take us through, you go heavy on your gear, take us through the rod and reel outfit you use here. What's it got?
So we've got a Daiwa HRF 8.1. I like to use high-speed reels.
Yep.
It's just good if a barra comes jumping at you, you can get that line pretty quick. And I'm not an impatient fisherman, so I'm able to wind it really slow when I need to wind it slow.
Yep.
I put those big Gamexus handles on all my stuff. I love them. They're awesome.
Yep.
And that's a Dobbins Caden. I think it's a 744.
744, yep.
For 10 to 20 pound. I love those rods for your mullets and your mollicks, or basically any plastic that you're slow rolling, because they fold away really, really nicely at the tip.
Yep.
And especially with your mullets, you need that so that they suck it in and choke it every time.
Yep.
Working in a tackle store, I talk to a lot of guys who fish mullets and stuff like that, and they complain about the hookup rate and the molluxes. They're too heavy, they keep shaking them, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what rod are you using? And they're using like a 6-foot or a 5/8 or something like that, and it's stiff and it just doesn't fold away. And because barra implosion feeders, it's just hooking them in the lips or hooking them in the face or something like that, and you're not getting that good hookup. But the only thing you got to kind of worry about then is choking it, is you get chafed off a lot. So I tend to...
So heavy leader?
Yeah, I run 80 pound, sometimes 100 pound fluorocarbon.
Yep.
And I'll generally set the hook with the drag as tight as I can wind the little thing.
Yep.
And then depending on if it jumps and how big it is and where it's hooked, I might back it off a little bit if I'm a bit chicken.
Yep.
So
There you go. So the take-home message for the northern Queensland creek fishermen is put the creek rods away. You're not fishing a gold bomber anymore.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Run a 7, at least a 7-foot rod with a nice top tip.
Yep.
But then something that's got a lot of backbone, obviously, so you can control them.
H, it's a good feeling to get your first win, mate. It's a quality group of anglers here, and you've sort of been accepted into the group here, and you're a force to watch out for now.
Yeah, no, it was it's very special. I was thinking about it. My first ever impoundment fish came out of Teemburra about 6 or 7 years ago. So it was a pretty special dam to get our first win on, I guess. Yep. Very different dam as well, and if we had had more time to pre-fish, I probably would have liked to have had a bit more of a look around and fished it, how people fish it, So, but at the end of the day, like, we had a limited pre-fish, limited time to have a look around, and coming from Tinaroo being our home lake, there's no weed, there's no light in Tinaroo, so we just had to sort of stick to what we knew, and we didn't want to waste too much time trying to learn something that we might not have succeeded on. So that edge bite in the weed and that sort of thing is something we're not used to. So we just decided to stick to our guns and give it a red hot crack. So.
And because you put the atomic sticker on your boat, another $1,000 from Michael Starkey. How good's that?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I did mention that to him when we left the boat ramp in the afternoon, because a lot of people were saying that they didn't catch many fish, they didn't catch big fish. So as we kind of drove past him, I was like, I'll collect that from you tomorrow, mate.
And you did.
And I did, yeah. So
$3,000 for the win. That's a good payer for a barra event.
Yeah, no, that was pretty awesome. So that covered all our entries and accommodation and stuff like that. So although the accommodation's pretty dodgy, and I'm surprised we're still alive. So.
Yeah, okay. Well, you might be allowed to go again, guys. A great winning new team. We are filming this from Camp Kangaroo, and we do have another interview to do with the guys, because they may or may not have won the all-nighter at Faust as well. So.
I'll just say the accommodation is not Camp Kanga where we're staying.
Oh, yeah. Is it in Prossie somewhere?
It's in Prossie, yeah.
And how many do you count your wheels every morning?
Yeah.
All right, great win, guys. $3,000 richer, and if you're not scoping, you're hoping.